And so, like I said, we were having a story time where we're talking about friendship, the value of friendship. And I was mentioning that I was in a dilemma with a friend due to some things that transpired between me and him years ago. Oh, my pen. Jesus, I brought my pen all the way underneath the bed. Oh, probably got my putty dirty in the process. Anyways, so like I was saying, welcome to the live. It's your girl Mermaid. I'm back with a story time of a current dilemma I am currently facing. And I don't know what to do, and I don't know if I should do anything, honestly, about this whole situation. So, like I was saying before my live abruptly ended, um, for anybody who's wondering what I'm doing, I am diamond painting some jellyfish. Diamond painting is just where you literally one by one place diamonds on a canvas. So this is what I'm working on currently, as you guys can see. Now, back to this story time. I had decided that I was going to, respect his marriage or whatever. The friend, like I told y'all about, we liked each other, but we never said anything. Um, it was later told to me that before he got married, it was told to me that he liked me, but every time he thought about telling me that he liked me, I would be mentioning to him another dude that I was talking to because I went away to college and he was still here. Um, he was still in North Carolina, but I was in a different part of North Carolina, and he was still in my hometown. He was still in our hometown. Now we were friends for years, 5 or 6 years. Initially, when I first met him, he did have a girlfriend, and I was friends with him and his girlfriend. Well, he was going to propose to his girlfriend at one point, and she went and pledged AKA, and she changed completely. So prior to her pledging, she broke up with him, and he was going to propose to her on her graduation. She doesn't know this. She might find out when she watched this, but that's if she knows my voice or whatever. But he was going to propose to her on her at her graduation. And because she couldn't wait and she broke up with him, he said, okay, well then F it. He had bought a ring and everything. He was going to propose to this girl. Now, I was friends with them, so I was rooting for them. And I was like, y'all should get back together, da 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 da. Now, mind you, I secretly did have a crush on him, but that didn't matter because how I feel about you doesn't change. And I saw you as a brother and I thought you saw me as a sister. And I was like, oh, I love you. And he'd be like, oh, I love you too, nah, nah. That's what he would call me. So I'm thinking, okay, this man does not like me like that. He don't see me like that. I'm wasting my time. Me fantasizing about anything possibly happening between me and this man ain't gonna happen. Now, y'all, this was several years ago. I currently have a man. Okay, let's make that very clear. This man is currently married. Okay, and we're gonna get into that in a second. Okay, of how this affair happened between me and him. All right, so this was years ago when this happened. This was an affair that happened between me and a married man. And I am not proud of this, but it's just something that happened. Um, so basically, when him his okay, so let's start from the beginning. Like I said, he got married, and I didn't know that he got married. And it's not like he we didn't talk for some time. Like I said, he did tell me previously that he liked me or whatever. But whenever he thought about dating me, I would always be telling him about a different dude that I was dating or a different dude that I was dealing with in college. Because hello, I'm in college. And so, I'm doing my little thing. I was thotting and bopping. Okay, this is what it is. Doing what college folks do, thotting and bopping. Thinking I wasn't in college thinking I was gonna be in love forever with nobody. Okay, babes, let's make that very clear. I was there for a short time, not a long time. And that it was what it was. I was there and I'm letting people know that, baby. Once I graduate, I had a lot of people during my senior year who wanted to date me, and I was like, no, sir. You are still a junior, and I am a senior, and I'm about to be gone, baby. And I'm not coming back to Winston-Salem after this. Because I went to Winston-Salem State. And so, anyways, he ended up not starting the storm right when I want to tell the story. It's crazy. So me and the guy kept in contact on and off, but like I said, he didn't tell anybody he was getting married, not even his own people. He went and eloped with this woman who he knew from his childhood, who today is his wife, and didn't tell anybody. So over the years, I didn't feel any type of way because I was dating people and talking to people and doing what I do, like I've been doing. And he was, with his wife and kids. And then one day he calls me and I'm asking him, so how's the marriage going? Just checking in. This is just we randomly ended up calling each other. Now, mind y'all, we would go years without talking to each other. Like once he got married, I'm not about to be in no married man phase. Period. Okay, unless I'm friends with you and your wife, I wasn't about to be. My morals initially were I'm not about to be in a married man face, and my morals still today is I'm not about to be in a married man face. We did have history, but not in that way. We never dated, we never kissed, we never had any type of sexual relations, none of that. And so, but he was a handsome man, and he was a good man at that. And he had already, always told me that he was never going to get married. That's what he told me. He always told me when we were younger, I'm never going to get married. You don't have to worry about that. Da 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 da. So I'm like, well, I know I want to be married. So that's why I never saw him as a suitor, because baby, I know I want to be married. I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. You'll get married one day. Da 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 da. And he used to tell, oh Lord, it's coming down. He used to tell me I'm gonna have to scream over the rain, apparently. But he used to tell me, no, I'm never gonna get married. Da 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 da. All right, so fast forward, he ended up calling me and telling me that his wife was cheating on him. And I was like, oh, not trouble in paradise. I was petty. So I was like, dang, she cheating. I'm like, how do you know this for sure? You think she cheating? He said, no, I know she's cheating. So apparently his wife was, he said he was going through her phone and he read some text messages with of his wife talking to basically this guy who was her first boyfriend. And this happened to be the guy who she lost her virginity to. And so his wife had told him that she was going out of town or whatever, and she was hanging with a friend, but didn't tell him that it was the dude. And so she goes out of town and she ends up cheating. Now when she comes back, her phone is just ding 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 ding. And so one night, something just tells him, look at the phone. He said he didn't even have to go through the phone. It popped up. And her notifications, how you have it set on your iPhone that you want to show the full message. And he was like, I can't wait to see you again. That thing was good. I can't wait to eat. That thing was juicy. Da 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 da. And so, of course, he's pissed off. And he confronts her and he's like, who is this dude that's been messaging you? And she's like, nobody. Like, what are you talking about? Like, he was like, you told me you were hanging with a friend. He said, I assume this would be a female friend. Who is this dude that's texting you talking about he can't wait to be in that again? Who is this dude? And she was lying and was like, oh no, that's just my friend. Da 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 da. So he knew she was lying. He knew she had cheated. He was like, whatever. He left it alone. He didn't want to dwell on it. It did cause a trust issue, but it also explained why they no longer had any sexual relations anymore. So, anyways, for some time, their Smeck's life, from what he told me, he hadn't had Smeck's with her in years because he just wasn't feeling the vibe. He said, her mom was very much trying to brainwash her. She kept trying to move out and go live with her mom, and he was like, no, you're not gonna take my kids and make my kids suffer and be in a one bedroom, one bath because you wanted to cheat. And so she started getting in this mindset where she was like, well, we're just gonna go. Like, don't even worry about it. He was like, no, you broke the trust, but you're not gonna make my kids suffer because you wanted to cheat. And I told him, I said, rightfully so. Like, that's crazy. How's she gonna try to take your kids from you from her cheating? Right? So we go on or whatever, and what she does is she cheats again. Time goes on and she cheats again. So this second time when she cheated, my friend was telling me he was thinking about offing himself and all of this, and I was like, it ain't never that serious. Like, she don't respect him. Her mom is disrespectful. She lets her mom talk to him any type of way. He had some things in his childhood home. Now his mom is deceased, so he had some things from his childhood or whatever that his mother-in-law threw away. He's in the Navy. He's active in the Navy, and so he left to do a gig or whatever because they contract him out to different sites to do like he was a med tech. And so they would contract him out to do different places. So sometimes he had to be gone for some months. But she knew that before she married him. You know what I'm saying? She knew that she was going to be a Navy wife before she married him. That's the life she wanted. But once the gigs weren't coming in consistently, he was having issues with one of the employers. All of a sudden, I don't know. I guess she was like, "Oh, well, if you can't be a provider, I'm just gonna sleep with a whole bunch of men." Well, anyways, she went on and she started sleeping around. The second time she was sleeping with a boss, and I didn't talk to him for like a year or so, and then I checked in with him again, and he's like, "Yeah, she cheated again." And I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Now, mind you, at this time, I'm single. And I'm like, this is a good man, Savannah. You tripping. You tripping. So one day, me and him are we're FaceTiming each other. And I'm asking him, like, hey, you know, I had won this wig from a contest and I never won anything. And so I was on TikTok and I was doing I entered into a giveaway and I won a wig. Now this was an all gray wig. I didn't really like the wig. I was gonna dye it when I got it, but it was a nice wig. It was a nice wig. It's just it was my type of wig, and it's probably for somebody grandma or something. Cause that thing was all gray, honey. But anyways, that's definitely for another ethnicity. Definitely not for me. So I was gonna wear it for Halloween since Halloween was coming up. So I was showing him the wig, and I was like, "How does this wig look?" I didn't have on anything inappropriate. Um, and we were just chatting or whatever, and I had already told him from the jump. I said, if me and you being friends is going to be an issue with her, we don't have to be friends. We don't even have to talk, because I don't have time for no mess. And he was like, oh no, I'm not worried about her. Like, she gonna feel how she feel. I'm not getting rid of my friends because she's been cheating, and she's cheated twice at this point. He has never cheated on her, except for like what I'm about to tell y'all about. And so I was like, okay, all right, whatever. I said, but at any point, if I need to meet her so she can feel comfortable, I'll meet her, let her know that it's not like that between me and you. If I want, because my thing was, honey, if I wanted him, I could have been had him. Baby, I don't know this man for 15 years. If I wanted this man, I could have been had him, baby. And so clearly, I've never made a move on him. He's never kissed me. There's never been anything like that to happen. So I assume that, that ship has sailed. Because it's one of those things when you have a male and a female who are friends for years and people think, oh, something has happened. With him, let him tell it. Plenty of his friends, he'll smash plenty of his friends. Plenty of his female friends he smashed. But he had never smashed me. So it was like, I don't, it is what it is. But he would tell me stories of how he used to smash a whole bunch of women when he was in high school or whatever, back when he was, out there like that. So, anyways, he goes on and she comes in the house and I hear the kids in the background. They're like, "Mommy, mommy," because she had just came home. So I'm like, okay, clearly his wife just came home. Now, y'all, he's talked to me before while she was home. Mind y'all, I'm single right now. I'm not thinking anything of it. It's not like it's super duper late. It's not like it's 12 o'clock in the morning. Like, y'all, it's all of maybe 6 or 7 p.m. It is not that late. And so, at this time, he had been being a stay at home dad because he couldn't get like many gigs or whatever, or was waiting for the Navy to reassign him to a different contract. And it had been some months. So she ended up going back to work and he ended up, being a stay at home dad. And so I could hear the kids in the background and they're like, "Mommy, mommy." And so once again, y'all, he's talked to me on the phone with her in the room before. So I don't know what was up with her. But all of a sudden, like we were talking and I was like, "How is this wig? Like, would this wig look good with an outfit or whatever?" And I'm showing him a wig and all of a sudden she snatched his phone. She snatches his phone and she's like, um, "Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?" And she's like talking crazy. And who is this girl you talking to? And he was like, "It's one of my friends. Give me my phone." And she wouldn't give him his phone. And so he ended up snatching his phone. And she was like, "I can't believe you put your hands on me." Just being mad over dramatic. Because I could clearly see everything that's going on. And She snatched the phone away. So he snatched the phone back. Like, don't be snatching my phone. You're not paying any phone bill. For one, it's a friend. It is not that serious. And on top of that, you've been talking and sleeping with other people. So he was like, I'm not trying to hear that. And so she was like, well, I don't know who she is. Why haven't you ever told me about her? Da 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 da. And he was like, I have told you about her. This is Nana. And she was like, well, I don't know nobody named Nana, and I know all your friends. Or she was like, no, you know all my friends. Why can't I know all your friends? And he said, I don't know all your friends. And she was like, yes, you do. You do know all my friends. And he was like, who's such and such? And he mentioned the dude who she was cheating with. And she got real quiet. And I was like, ooh. So in the back, I'm just in the background I'm just listening to the conversation. But then I kind of was like, I don't want to be meddling, so let me just go ahead and go. So I hung up. But no, before I hung up, she was like, I can't believe you're cheating on me while I'm pregnant. Da 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 da. And I was like, wait a minute now. He done told me that he ain't slept with this lady in years. So how was she pregnant if he ain't slept with her in years? And so later on, I asked him. I said, "See, that's the type of stuff I be talking about." And I said, like I told him, I said, if she has a problem with us being friends, she's your wife at the end of the day. Regardless of whether she has cheated or not, she's your wife. And out of respect for her, if she's not comfortable with us being friends, I'll cut off all contact. It's not that serious. It's not like we haven't gone years without talking before and still been friends. So it's not that serious. Your wife got some issues. I ain't got time. And so he was like, oh no, 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 it's not like that. Like she just. And so I was like, well, is she pregnant? Because you told me y'all haven't been sleeping together. He said, well, if she is, it ain't mine. He said, because we haven't had, any type of relations in about 4 years. I was like, oh. And that was partially because she cheated and he didn't want to get burned. And so I was like, oh, so that's why she ended up cheating again. And so I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like he was like, he was like, she just don't respect me. I'm thinking about this off of myself. I said, ho, don't talk like that. Don't talk like that, bro. Ho, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We ain't got to talk like that. It ain't never that serious. You got two kids you got to live for. It's never that. He said, yeah. He said, but she going to end up trying to take my kids from me. He said, my kids is all I live for. He was like, she don't respect me. She do whatever she wants. She let her mom get in her mind, and her mom talks her into disrespecting me. He said, and I don't understand it because, for one thing, her sister's boyfriend be beating on her. He was like, her mama speak highly of him, but a man who taking care of his kids and doing what he's supposed to do, who has never put his hands on this girl, she just talked to him like he the lowest of the low, and talk to her daughter like he the lowest of the low. And oh, you might as well be getting ready to pack your stuff because he gonna cheat on you and da 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 da. And it's just like, what is this old lady talking about? Mind you, the mom is married, y'all. The mom is married, so it's not like she doesn't come from a wedded family. But he said that's also how her mom be speaking to her daddy. And so I said, oh, so her daddy is simp. Oh, okay. Not saying that he is, but dad is definitely a simp. So I'm like, okay. So I'm not thinking nothing about it. I'm minding my business, whatever. Not my problem. I go on. We didn't talk for a long time after that. Um, and so the next time I talk to him, I'm like, hey, so I just fell back completely because I'm not about to be in the middle of nobody marriage. I had been there, done that with married men, and or a married man at that point in time. I had already been there, done that with a married man. Um, and that's another story for another time. But like I said, I already been there, done that. And so you're not about to be in my face, skinning and grinning, and you got a whole wife. And even though he wasn't on that type of time, I wasn't about to let it get to that point. So I just cut off all communication and said, I don't even want no parts of this. Let me know when you get a divorce or something because she messing with your mental health. I want to be a friend and be there because I don't want you to off yourself. But at the same time, I can only do what I can do. So he decides that he's gonna, or he don't decide nothing. Next time I talked to him, he told me that it ended up getting physical, and I think she tried to put her hands on him or something, and he restrained her, and she called the police, and was trying to press charges and do all this extra stuff. So he ended up just leaving and saying, "Bump it. I just leave." Or no, she left. He was gonna leave, and then she was like, "No, you can keep this house." Da 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 da. She took the kids, packed the kids stuff, took the kids over to her mama's house like she had been trying to do for the past couple of years. She just wanted any reason to get up out of there, cause he told her, "You're not taking my kids nowhere." And so she wanted any reason to get up out of there. Like I said, he was not abusive in any way, shape, or form to this girl. This girl just was crazy. That's all it was. And so I'm like, she don't know what she doing. I said, cause this is a good man, and this man don't. When I tell you, don't hurt a fly. I've known this man for years. He's not that type of guy. He's not gonna put his hands on you. He's not gonna go back and forth with you. He's a very peaceful person. So hearing all this stuff from him and his mindset and all of that, I didn't like this. And at this point, I didn't like the girl. I ain't even gonna lie. I didn't like the girl. I said, because you making my friend feel like he don't want to be on this earth no more, and I got a problem with that. I don't care who you is, wife or not. I don't like that, because he shouldn't even be in a mental space to even be having those type of thoughts. And so she ended up taking the kids and leaving. And at one point, he was saying that she was supposed to be like not with she was supposed to not be with the seeing the boss anymore, because she was claiming that she moved or the boss got moved. And then she started telling him, oh, there's no way I cannot see him because he's, over everything. And he comes into my, and he was like, okay, just because he come to your building, I mean, you got to speak to him. Because she was like, I'm going to have to end up having some type of interaction with him because, he's higher up basically. And so, yeah, so that man that she was cheating with the boss, he ended up having a wife as well. It was just a big mess. And I told him, I said, if I was you, I'd be finding that boss's wife, and I'd be letting the wife know that, your wife is sleeping with with her husband. And go ahead and do it like that. I said, because this don't make no sense. Because this is, now, if, he wants to sexually harass you or anything, he could do that. Because you don't open up Pandora's box and slept with him. And now, if you say anything and say you change your mind, you know how that go in the workplace. There usually ain't no changing your mind depending on what workplace you work in. Once you open up Pandora's box and they done already had it, they feel like they can get it whenever they want. Especially when you're dealing with men in corporate or any other type of. Anyways, so she ended up taking the kids. She moves out. So he's at the house by himself. She knows that he clearly can't afford this home by himself, and that they used to split the rent on the house. So he's not working. She's taking his kids. Of course, he's in a dark place. So I tell him it's been some months since she's taking the kids at this point. So I'm just like, okay, you come over. It's not that serious. Like, come over, bro. It's not that serious. So, he comes over and we end up wrestling. And yeah. Now nothing happens this first time, right? And I'm thinking, like, once again, I thought that I was single. I was single, and I was minding my business. But I should have known letting somebody come over that late was just a no go. But he was talking a lot of junk, and I was talking a lot of junk through chat, through text or whatever, and we was talking about wrestling each other. So when we get there, we do wrestle, and I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. Nothing happened that night, but his car ended up getting totaled from my house, which was the first sign that, like, y'all really should not be around each other this late at night, especially if he ain't had no interaction in 8 years. Y'all probably should not be around each other this late at night. So his car, we come outside, or he comes outside, and he's like, "Where's my car?" And I'm like, "What you mean?" And he's like my car is gone. And I'm just like, it was because of how he parked. In the neighborhood I lived in, I stayed in some townhomes, and he parked on the on the edge of the property. He didn't pull into the driveway. And I was like, why didn't you just pull into the driveway? There was nobody that was going to be there. And he was like, yeah, but I wanted to. And I'm just like, it didn't matter. Like, why would you park like that? So he parked alongside and I didn't know that you couldn't park like that. Because at the end of the street, at the dead end, the neighbors had plenty of cars. And they didn't tow any of those people, but they towed his car. So I was like, well, so I walked to the end of the road to see the sign or whatever. And y'all, this is like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I did not sign up for all this. I didn't even sign up for us to be wrestling, to be honest. But I mean, when I say wrestling, we was literally wrestling. Like, because I refuse to lose. Like, you're not about to break me. Like, I refuse to lose. I'm highly competitive. And so we was literally wrestling. Anyways, we were downstairs wrestling. And so once tension got a little too high, I said, "Yeah, you probably need to go. You need to go because if we wrestle one more time, something probably gonna happen. You need to go." So he left. But like I said, he didn't have nowhere to go to because his car was gone. So I had to call an Uber because I don't drive, and I had to call an Uber to for us to go all the way to the other side of town, y'all. We don't went all the way to the other side of town. And he didn't have the money at the time to get his car at the tow yard. So I had to pay 200 something dollars. I'd never forget. My God. I had to pay 200 something dollars. And he was like, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. And I'm just like, bro, this is what I get. This is what I get. Trying to wrestle somebody. He shouldn't have been at my house that late. This is exactly what I get. So I end up paying the 200. It was like 260 or something like that. Damn near $300. And so I paid that money and didn't learn my lesson apparently because some months go by. We don't talk after that. It was kind of awkward to talk. And I was dealing with other people, right? And like I said, me and him have a consistent friendship, but we don't talk for like months at a time and we'll be fine and we'll pick up right where we left off. And so I was asking him how everything was going and he was like, oh, he ended up having to leave that property that he was staying in. He did end up getting his car back that night, but it was a big mess. So he ended up driving me back home, dropping me off, and I was like, okay, bye, and that was it. And I didn't talk to him for some months after that. It was kind of awkward because of what had transpired. Like, why are we wrestling like little kids? Like freaking Simba and Nyla is freaking weird. And so, anyways, like I said, I was single at the time. He was estranged from his wife. So I'm like, okay. So sometime later, y'all, he decides to say just pop up. Or I was talking junk and then he popped up to my house. And I was like, what are you doing here? He was like, no, you was talking junk. Let me in. And I'm just like, no, why are you here? And he's just like, nah, you was talking junk. Let me in. You was talking all that shit to text. Let me in. And so I came in. I let him come in or whatever. And my roommate wasn't there. So I was talking hella junk. And my roommate used to be out all types of night. For her to be an older lady, I used to have this African roommate who used to be out all types of night. When I tell you, this lady used to be out to 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if she was at church. I don't know where she was. I don't know if she was at her cousin's house, but she used to be out later than me. That lady had to be 60 something, and she used to be out all types of night. I'm just like, what is this lady doing? It was none of my business. So I was like, okay, she grown. The lady is out. Whatever. So this is another night where, clearly I'm by myself. So, yeah, one thing led to another, and yeah, more than wrestling happened. More than wrestling happened. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is not supposed to happen. How did this happen? And he's like, I don't know. And yeah, more than wrestling happened. And it just was what it was. I was like, well, and I don't know. I feel bad about it at first, but then I didn't feel bad. 'Cause I'm like, I mean, your wife done cheated twice. Like, bro, we're two different people. Like, y'all not even together no more. So I was thinking to think about it. He was like, he was filing for divorce and all that crap. But I didn't see a future with him at all. Like, not even a little bit. Because, I mean, you got all these kids now. Now you got, and I have nothing. And you got all these kids. So, um, it was just a spur of the moment situation. But yep, it didn't go on for long. It probably happened twice, and I was like, all right, like, we can't do this again. Like, this is no go. Um, I can't be talking to you when I'm trying to entertain somebody else. I'm a one woman man, whatever's going on between you and her. I hope things get better, but at the end of the day, just file for custody or whatever. And so his thing was he was going to leave the kids with her. And I was like, well, you talking about her coming home, from the club drunk and all that when you was watching the kids. Do you think that she would be safe to or responsible enough to keep the kids? And he was like, well, yeah, I think she'd be responsible enough to keep the kids or whatever. I know she would never hurt them, da 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 da. But he wanted to go finish his master's in another state. So I was like, okay, so I sent him some money. The money I sent him, I said, hey, before I send you this money, I'm going to need this money back. And he was like, yeah, yeah, I got you. As soon as I get the money, I'll send it back. I said, and I'm not in a rush, but that was my tax money. So I sent him maybe approximately $130. At starting, I think I sent him more than that. He paid that money back, not a problem. So I didn't have a problem giving him more money because, I've given you money before and you paid me back. It may have taken a little minute, but you still paid me back, so whatever. So he was talking about how, he needed money for the storage unit to move this stuff or whatever, or get this stuff moved out of the place because he had like 4 days to move his stuff or they was going to put his stuff out. So I was like, okay. So I sent him I said, I don't have much. I said, but I know my taxes is coming. I said, I know my taxes is going to be a good little bit. It's tax time. So here you go. He didn't ask for the money, but I did tell him, hey, I sent you this money. I need it back. At first, he was like, no, no, you can keep your money. You don't. I said, well, how you going to get it? I said, who you going to get it from? Don't nobody else got no money. She ain't talking to you. Your in-laws ain't trying to help with nothing. I said, so where you going to get the money from? He was like, all right, all right. He said, but yeah, he said, I'll have it back, soon or whatever. Well, soon never came. Soon never came. And I just received that money this year, and I gave that money to him approximately 3 years ago. Soon never came, and yeah, I just now got that money back this past month. So of course now I'm in a whole nother relationship. I'm not thinking about this man or what he got going on, but what I was thinking about was my $130 plus interest that you owed me. Um, and I could have been petty and did the plus interest, but I was like, I know this nigga ain't got it. He got it now, but he didn't have it then. And so for years, I was practically begging for my money back. He would not speak to me. He would not talk to me. He was practically running from me because he knew he owed me money and he knew I was going to ask about that money. So I would see him online and he would literally decline my calls even through Facebook Messenger. But he would make posts in his story. I'm like, oh, so you just blatantly ignore me because you know you owe that money. All right, bet. Now I thought we was better than that, but apparently not. So I'm like, okay, bet. So time goes on, and I'm talking to my boyfriend, and I'm just like, he gonna have to run me my money, or I might have to take him small claims for it, because this is getting ridiculous. It's been some years now, and so I ended up just saying, bump it. I'm just gonna write it off on my taxes, and that's what I did this year was write it off. And here he come giving it back now. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I checked my Venmo, and I had $130 in my Venmo, and I was like, oh. And sometimes my boyfriend said, oh, he just paid my money back. He was like, oh, that nigga finally paid? I'm like, yes, he finally paid. So, anyways, that was that. And so the dilemma now is to be friends or not to be friends. I feel like too much has happened and too much has transpired for us to go back to a friendship as it was. I'm not really interested in a friendship with any males at this point. My boyfriend is my only male friend. Outside of, I have two male friends, but I don't remain friends or keep friends around that I've had any interactions in that way with. So the dilemma isn't really to be friends or not to be friends because I really don't care at this point. Um, I see him on social media. I don't see him. They suggest him as a friend. I don't see him because whatever he got going on at this point no longer has anything to do with me. Especially when I helped twice when I didn't have to, and I shouldn't have had to beg and plead for my money, and I never even got a freaking apology for how long it took him to pay that money back. So, yeah, honestly, until I get an apology, ain't gonna be no friendship. And so that's the story time of the time I gave somebody money and didn't get that shit back for X amount of years. And now I have to put him in the X book, even though I don't want to. But I consider anybody who I've previously had relations with an ex, whether we were together or not. If I've had relations with you, you're an ex to me. We didn't have to have nothing going on. We could have just mismatched an ex. An example of what not to do is what an ex is. And so, what's what it was. His kids were so cute and adorable, and I hope they're doing good. And I hope him and his wife work things out. But not my problem. Next case. Next case. This thing is getting hot. Let me turn this off. I didn't know it was gonna get that hot. All right, that's the end of this story time. If y'all want to hear another, remember story time. Make sure y'all subscribe. Okay, like this story, and yeah, peace out.